Welcome to Bunk Analysis. In this episode of Coast to Coast there are two guests on the program. The first guest argues that America has become a dollar democracy and that the gap between the rich and poor is widening. Unfortunately this is very true, but rather than dwell on that, let's move to the second guest. The second guest is Vernon McDowell, and he founded the Palmistry Institute in L.A. Vernon reads people's palms for a living and also likes to share his predictions for the future with a coast-to-coast audience based on the multitudes of astrology and palm readings he has performed. Now, in the highly quackified field of mind reading, most mind readers basically do what's called a cold reading on their subject. That is, they use the information the subject is giving them to take guesses on what they are thinking about or what is going on in their lives. I would imagine that Vernon does the same sort of thing. By using the information people provide to him before the reading, he can better serve his customers. But that is probably all he is doing, is picking out memes based on curvatures on somebody's palm and then applying them to the person's life. His predictions and trends include the rise in family businesses and heightened awareness of community and New Age concepts. Okay, if you ask me, the family businesses trend shows that his customers were mainly self-employed, possibly in family businesses. The awareness of community is a very broad meme which could be said at any time. It's always important. And finally, the Great Awakening to New Age concepts just tells us that he has been getting more customers lately. I guess a sucker is born every minute, or maybe even faster given our population growth rate. Finally, Vernon argues that we have come out of a cycle of Mars which is marked by belligerence and conflict. Not a very significant statement, given that humans tend to have wars all of the time over limited resources. And now we are entering into a cycle of Rahu, which is associated with close observance and awareness. I think most people are aware that they are aware. Awareness is a part of who humans are. Again, not a very meaningful statement. To state something specific, such as, I saw on a person's hand that the stock market was going to crash on August 15th, would be too specific, and hence the outcome is true or false. The outcomes of Vernon's predictions are basically great. You can't really prove or disprove them. Or at least not without a ton of work setting up large surveys and attempting to isolate out lots of competing variables. It would be easier to have a test group walk into his shop and tell him a handful of lies than truths and determine if his accuracy is statistically significant, in other words, better than a monkey could do. Since science seeks to validate or invalidate its theories, palm reading is unfortunately junk science. Hand lines are different and interesting looking, but so is the pattern of color in people's eyes or wavy lines on fingerprints. Variation happens and makes everyone a little bit different. There's not much more meaning than that. Thanks for listening.